Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Guy here on Edge Radio Australia. He's not very ordinary though. Come on, really. Come on, mate. Is there anyone who's a bit ordinary?
At least we kept quiet before the intro. I was watching your interview the other day with Brandon.
Brandon does it on purpose every single time.
He keeps yakking away and you're trying to go, shh.
Yeah, exactly. And I try and feel all industry. I use the right terminology. So, Mike's hot. The moment I say it, he starts talking about his lunch, his mum, any experience.
And then you sit back and go, come on, you got to tell us a bit about the Orange Brick Road.
That's right. Let's get into it.
Give him a bit of a plug because I really enjoyed his last one.
Well, here's the plug. It's Brendan Quartermain here, mate. Great to have you here for the Ordinary Guy. Now, where we talk about, we theoretically talk about the building industry and also, the everyday punters sort of, influence, if you like, in that. But we also venture into other things. What have you got on your mind today?
Well, actually, a couple of things. I ran out and instantly I'm putting a septic system in my backyard.
Oh, mate, that sounds like fun.
Oh, yeah, it is. Like where the swimming pool was, now's the septic system.
Right.
But it's not an open... Yeah. And I knew that I had to go buy it this week because I know that for some reason it might go up by 40% because it's made of plastic.
Oh, no.
And you're looking at this thing and you go like, what's going on with the fuel prices? I mean, let's talk about that for 1 second.
Well, yeah, we will for a second. Why not? Because people don't appreciate, and throwing it out there, a lot of people don't appreciate that pretty much everything, certainly everything made of plastic, comes from an oil product.
Okay? Well, you look at the building sites. These poor buggers are paying twice as much to get almost 40% more to get to work.
Yeah.
And people, and that has to be held by somebody.
Of course,
that overhead, that cost gets thrown back to the builder in this case, in our case, and then thrown back to the public.
Now, Brendan, calm down, mate. You're a little passionate. I've got the vibe here. Take your pills. It's all right. Chill out.
You at the moment, like they're talking about PVC going up by 40%.
40%.
Yes, but at the same time, we've got enough PVC to last us a couple of years in storage.
It's all sitting there. Yeah, absolutely.
So I sort of I struggle a little bit in that space,
There's a lot of people taking advantage of the situation, and that's the problem. Everybody goes, and it's also a great way politically to, hate on the Americans and what's going on there.
Yeah.
People like to do it, okay, because everyone's got their own agenda, I guess.
I posted on my Facebook the other day that our fuel prices are up by 40%. The rest of the world's nowhere near us.
No. Actually, on the Edge Radio Australia Facebook page, we've actually put up a couple of graphs to show that because it is quite ridiculous. The increase in price of juice in Australia compared to the rest of the world, crazy.
And the worst part about it is that because of the GST, if there's an extra $1, that's an extra 10 cents in their pocket. Yep. So you've got an extra $70 of fuel a week in your thing. That's an extra, $70 for them. What's that? $7 for them, for the government.
It's $700 million a week.
Yeah,
extra. And we say the government. Now, theoretically, that's our money. Theoretically, it's supposed to go to build roads and hospitals and all the important stuff. Well, you got to question that, don't you?
I look because I'm in the building industry and I see it every day. And the trucks are, the guys, you can see the pressure out there with the boys and out there, even the workforce. They're sitting there, the pressure's on them. And if you're listening and you're on a building site right now, my hat's off to you. It really is. With everything on the left, it's got to be a right. So yin and yang. It's going to come back, and hopefully we'll get. There's got to be something good that comes out of this ultimately.
Oh, let's hope so.
But I struggle with these poor. Some of these guys, they've got a mortgage. They've got a car, they've got a boat, they've got 2 kids, trying to put them in private or even state school. It's hurting. But it's hurting on every
You're talking about, most Australians, quite frankly, okay?
Yeah.
And, I mean, the boat and the private school, maybe not, but it is so tough to put food on the table right now. Really basic stuff. Insurance has gone up a massive amount, and you've got to have insurance because, I certainly know I learned the wrong way about that. It's really important. And when you see these astronomical rises in price, and obviously the price of rents and mortgages are going up and up and up and up, our government, what the hell are they doing?
Look, and let's face it, the mining industry is still sucking up all that fuel to keep it all running. So it's kind of like it's like, is there the left hand trying to feed the right hand? It's tough out there. Yeah. And if you're young and you're trying to buy a house, or get into the into the industry, I had a friend of mine rock up. In fact, he was one of my draftees from a while back. Okay. He rocked up in my house and he said to me, "I want to get into the building industry. I want to buy a house for myself." And I asked him, I said, "When do you want to buy?" And he goes, "Oh, one day soon." And I said, "No, by Christmas." I said, "How about we work by Christmas?" It's mindset, because we're going to get into this in a minute.
Okay.
But getting him to that point where he could understand that he could actually do something and get happily involved in a house. And that doesn't mean that he has to own the house to live in.
Right.
He's just going to get into the market.
All right. Can I throw something different at you? What about, because people are struggling to get into markets, and you just mentioned first home buyers, young people, big struggle here.
Yeah.
What about getting to the country towns and that sort of thing? What adversity have you got with building in a country town?
There's no, everywhere is in direct proportion.
Okay.
So I've got clients across Australia.
All right.
I've got a bunch of clients that are building in places like Wagga Wagga.
Yeah.
They're buying the property.
Nice. They named it twice, mate.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, they actually had some rain out there the other day, and they were upset because it got a little rainy because it's very dry.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't know that.
It's been very dry for a while.
Right.
In fact, I said to a mate of mine who was in Cairns the other day, whose name's Ray, awesome guy, said to Ray, I said, what's going on? She said, I don't have to water my lawn today because all the cyclones go around the outside of Cairns.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden this one went through Cairns. So I don't have to, because it's now flooded underwater again. And so I said, look, mate, grab a couple of buckets and send it to me.
Yeah.
I wish I'd never said that.
Oh.
Narelle's on its way.
Yeah, it is, absolutely, mate. Actually, you know
but
what?
Just
go on.
Sorry,
you
just getting back to that, how do we
Sure.
get in? So I've got this, these guys are buying properties in, say, like say Wagga Wagga, and they paid $280,000 for them. They put about 60 grand into them, and then they flip them and they sell them for 500 grand. So they're making some serious, some serious dollars because they don't want to. Nobody wants to. They just want to move into a house. They don't want to do all that stuff, make the kitchen nice. They don't want to do that. They just want to move in because they got their own jobs, their own lives, their own things to do. And so, one of my friends rang me out there. She said, I've got this property in Queensland.
Yep.
And I went, oh yeah. She goes, it's 1.4 million to start into the property. I'm like, ooh.
Gulp. Yep.
1.4, and it's got a building contract. It's already subdivided into 3.
Right.
It's already got a building contract on it, and they're just finalising the building contract details right now. And I'm going to buy the building contract for say 1.8. So you got 1.4, 1.85 million turnover. How's that?
Trying to work your maths out, but okay.
So it's about 3.5 down, and take out $1 million for $500,000 for finishing it off.
Sure.
And then you got $1 million profit.
Okay.
And I'm like sitting there going, how can that be a realistic price? But that's what they sell for.
It is insane. It is absolutely insane. It is taken it out of the grasp of the everyday person, which is not the way this country should be, right? That's why I sort of brought up the fact of getting out of the major cities. I think that is a really good option for people. I think that it's a good way into the market.
This is about half an hour to 40 minutes inland from Noosa.
Jeez.
And this is what the prices are. And I'm like, what?
That's insane.
You couldn't give this stuff away 2 years ago. But because Noosa's got so big and everybody's put it down, and this is what I'm saying about here. You go to Mandurah and you go to Harvey and you go to Waruna and it's going off because people are looking at, okay, I can get into affordable home that I can afford, but I'm going to have to live out there.
Yeah.
What's the next part? If you go past Waruna and past Harvey, there's not much left.
Okay.
There's not much. We kind
a lot of happy cows, mate. That's
lots of space, and then you're up for the big money to buy a block of land or something.
That's true
because it's called a farm.
Yeah,
But how do we So in that little deal that we've got there, I've got a single mum that's in there with 2 kids, myself, a money partner, and 2 others.
All right,
in there, and we'll make a bit of money. And then we'll roll that over. I said to the real estate agent, he goes, "Oh, how much do you get out of it?" I said, "Oh, the finder gets her 15 grand, and then she gets a third of the profit. If it works out only 3 of us, or if there's 6 of us, she gets 1/6 of the profit.
Yep.
And we just give it all, and we actually take that money and roll it back over.
Okay. She
now can see a way that she can actually buy a home and live in a home, her own, and not have a mortgage in 4 or 5 years' time.
That'd be absolutely amazing.
Absolutely
amazing.
I was talking to someone recently about loans and things. I would love to set up a system where we're not talking about having a mortgage as a thing. The first 7 years of your mortgage, you're paying an interest.
Well, 7, is it?
Yeah, it's about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, I heard 8, and I've heard as high as 11, which just seems insane. But the 8 was the one that I heard. Yeah,
you're 7 or 8 years, and then you've been paying into that house, and you haven't paid 1 cent off of your house. You've only paid the interest, and that's insane. What if we had a system? And this is having no mortgages. So we had a system where I said to Aaron, I'm going to lend you $100,000.
Yep.
And is it okay if I make 10?
Pretty happy with that deal.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you pay it off. The moment you start paying the money, you're paying off the loan.
Yeah.
And it's yours, and it's depreciated. And that's what we need to get back to. Get rid of this mortgage system.
Well, okay, we could go into a very long conversation about fractional lending and all like that, and let's cut the crap. Let's just be very honest about it. It's an ordinary guy.
Yeah.
The banks are pulling the piss.
Oh.
The entire fiat system is pulling the piss out of the everyday person.
And at the same time, right, and I know that they do this because this is what was going on in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1940s, somebody would come along and they say, okay, well, we've just been granted a block of land after leaving the war. Okay, so 1945, you were given a block of land.
Sure.
For your my grandparents got a block of land in Woodnelling.
Okay.
So and then they went to the bank and said, oh, we need to borrow some money to put a crop in. So they give you the money, and then they go back to the bank a year later and they pay it all back, and then they borrow again for the next crop, and et cetera, et cetera.
Rolls over.
And then they go, we want to put a house on it, so they go to the bank, put a house on it, and it keeps going. And eventually the bank owns the entire area because they're in debt. Okay, that's how it went. And I'll go through this a bit deeper.
Right. Okay.
Because when you sit back and realize that every cent that's in our community today is basically been put there, well, 95% of it has been put there by the banks. In other words, I buy a house off of you for $100,000. You then take that money and you either pay out your existing loan, which might have been $50,000, and then you take that other $50,000 and you spend it in the community, and that money starts to communicate
and it builds a community.
Absolutely. So do we owe the banks? Absolutely. They built this city. They built this country. They built this whole system. Have we had enough? Absolutely. There needs to be other ways around
Well,
this.
the biggest problem is, let's say, it goes back to the fractional lending, in my eyes anyway. The fact that, and these are not exact figures, obviously, but the fact that for every, I don't know, what is it, pretty much for every dollar that is held by a bank, they can lend 100. And that's pretty much how the system lies right now. It is no, some of the banks actually run on that system.
They don't actually have. So here's a question for you.
Okay.
Do the banks lend on their deposits?
No.
The answer is no. Absolutely. Yeah. And people believe
that's the perception, right?
That perception is that they lend on their deposits, but that's why they give you an interest rate, back 1% or whatever, and they take 6%. That's really cool. I mean, not into that, but that's what it's about. So if you understand that the banking system is created from nothing, so in other words, they've said that we've got nothing to offer as a security, and then we're going to lend you some money.
Yeah.
And there's nothing there. It's created from zero, from nothing.
That's right.
In fact, most cryptos are done the same way, if you think about it. But anyway, it's created something out of nothing. Yeah. When you go back and have a look at how that concept started and when it originated right back in time, it was primarily to help cities and places to grow.
Okay.
Today, it's all about it seems to be a one-way grab.
It's just about wealth. Simple as that. It's just, about grabbing it and going with it.
And it's time to change.
Thank you for the messages that are coming through. Unfortunately, they're coming through on a format that we can't see. So probably someone's watching on a private Facebook page, or it's been shared and shared and shared. And from that point, we can't see it. If you do want to make a comment or have a question, best thing is to jump onto YouTube right now, do the old like and subscribe, and your comments come straight through. And
we'll answer them as quickly as we can.
Absolutely.
So this comes back to becoming into mindset.
Yeah.
So where as a team leader in what I do as growing teams, so I've got a team in New South Wales, a team in South Australia, a team in Canberra, and now starting a team in Queensland.
Okay.
And we're always looking for those people that want to go forward, but there seems to be always that barrier of, and I guess it's fear that they can't, because they can't go, or they've been to like a dozen of these courses.
Yep.
And they've got all the knowledge, but no implementation.
And you know what? Knowledge is a fantastic thing. We all need it, but you need action.
Yeah.
You've got to take that first step.
We've created that platform where we take all of your knowledge that you've got, find your strengths.
Yep.
This is coming back to the ethos of understanding what a team is and finding those strengths and allowing those people to take those abilities and move on. So I had a very, very powerful relationship as a real estate agent in Bunbury.
Okay.
All right. And down here in Perth, I was done a lot of real estate work for Bond Corp and all those early days.
Back in the day, yeah.
Sold 96 properties in one weekend out of Balladura.
Damn.
And it was really funny because as I was driving back, I said, "Oh, Sonny, we flew over in a helicopter, had a look around, they showed us
Nice.
and I said, this is only 10 minutes from Perth. And the advert came up and it was that guy jumps out of the helicopter and he goes, Balladura is only 10 minutes from Perth. And I went, yeah, by helicopter. And then today,
full details, right? Yeah.
but, and growing up in that real estate. And then when we created the teams, I had to step back with all of the real estate knowledge and let the real estate people do their bit.
Okay.
And let me do my bit as the builder.
All right. Okay.
And so
distinctly make those lines, right?
Remember, yep. Okay. So I have a background in finance. I used to work for the R&I Bank in the day, doing 1.6 million a month back in the day.
Right.
Average sale was 86,000.
Okay.
So that's not a bad ratio.
20 sales, right?
Yeah.
About 18.
Yep. Selling mortgages.
Right.
Now we've got a mortgage broker in our group, so therefore I have no need to be that person. Because what I'm trying to get to here is that there are a lot of people out there that think that they know everything and they've got every avenue connected in their own brain. But until they learn to let go of that space and let the other team members that they create in that space have their position, you're going to be struggling trying to do everything.
Let people actually use their expertise to the absolute maximum of their ability, right? If you're just doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you can't do it properly. You can't give it the attention it deserves.
I've found that. Yeah, that's definitely. If you're trying to sell a house that you've predominantly built, you're attached to that house emotionally. So once again, you're emotionally attached to that house.
Sure.
My golden rule for all investors, or everybody that's out there that's doing flips, doing investments, doing cleanups, whatever it is that they're doing, please do not get emotionally attached to your home.
Okay. Right. Gee, that's a tough one, though. Are we talking about the home you live in, or we're talking about investment home?
This is investment only.
Okay. Well,
you get emotionally attached to your own home.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's your space. Okay, that's what you want. You want the green cupboards, you know, the pink tops, whatever it is that
it's an interesting point that you make. So, I mean, I've got a friend, Mia Casa, who does a business in Queensland where she does finance for people when it comes to investment properties. And she gave me the exact same advice about don't get emotional about it. That is the big thing. So many of us go, we get invested into it and we think, oh, we want this, we want that. Guess what? Just build the house for the people who are actually going to live in it, not yourselves. Or buy that.
We would probably look at per state, which is no word of a lie, before the boom, okay? So before the boom, these booms are actually happening everywhere. Yeah. They're happening in all over Australia at the moment, so it's really cool, good place to be. Australia's the best place to be, even though we're paying too much in fuel. It's still the best place to be. We predominantly look at 100 homes. Or 100 investments or 100 blocks of land before we actually nail one to the thing. And once you've done 100, then you can say that you know your area.
Yeah, okay.
Because you know what's going on. You've done 3 and you've got no emotion in there. Because the emotion on the first 3 is full on, I could do that in pink and, aubergine and all this sort of stuff. And it all goes out the door. Okay. When you take out that away. So it comes down to pure numbers. It's like, okay, where's the block sit? How does it go? What's the growth? What's in the area? What's selling in the area? How much are they selling for? In Bunbury, for example, recently, before just this is probably settled down a bit now, but you could buy a 4x2 in say Glen Iris for $500,000.
Okay, you can't do that now.
And I'm just saying, how much do you reckon a 3x1 cost?
No,
at the same time,
absolutely no idea.
$500,000.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, because it wasn't about at that point. There wasn't about how much the house cost. It was about getting a roof over your head. Opportunity to get you in because it was becoming really tough.
Okay.
It's like, and now the $500,000 are now 700, and now the others the 3x1s. Yeah. So what I used to do is you would get a 3x1, and you would put a room on the back and another or a granny flat or build off the same roof and put a mum and dad's retreat out the back.
Sure.
And you turn that into that 3x1 into a 4x2, and you'll get the value.
Of course,
but not today. You can't. It's not quite. It's very, very difficult to find that unless you find houses that are run down and
run down. I'm so glad you just said that because I had a question actually, and then thank you to the viewer that asked this during the week. And I'm so sorry I don't have your name on me. Should have been better prepared, but there you go.
That's right. We had one of those days, haven't we?
We have. So not my question. The question from our viewer was about. She was looking at some homes that were really, really, really run down. Like you can't live in them, okay? Purchasing those and renovating those for sale,
If you've got those, call me because I love them.
Okay, right. That's
exactly right.
Right.
You can call me on 0468357373. Call Wendy. That's bringing back some more memories.
Certainly is.
You can give me a call or here at the radio station. Yeah. If you've got those, and the key to these is get a builder in and get a structural integrity report
now
on the builder from the builder's perspective, not from an engineer.
Okay, not from an engineer.
No.
Okay.
So the buck stops with me.
Yeah.
So if I find that it's a structural engineering problem, in other words, there's a massive big crack through the building.
Yep.
What's causing the crack? Maybe then I might get an engineer in.
Okay.
But until then, I just use a builder because they've got, like myself, I've been in the building industry for over 40 years now.
So well,
yeah, we're having a joke. I'll come back to that in a minute. Remind me, I said 40 years. So it's the builder that's going to make the decision at the end of the day. So if he looks at the building and it's run down or it's in disrepair, then call in a builder. He'll have enough knowledge to then say, hey, this can be done, or it's just going to cost you a fortune.
So I guess this rolls back to mindset, okay, where we originally started. Do you have a mindset you can look at that and you can see that diamond in the rough? You can see the potential in it, I guess.
I can give you 40 ways to make that property better.
Right.
Sometimes it's like I'll go through some. Just a quick one.
Okay.
Redo the windows, respray the walls, get the walls, get rid of that 1970s look brick and flush them up. Double stories, single double story, extend them out the back, put a granny flat on them. All these things that are there to help you to create more income from that property.
Well, the granny flat is a great idea for the extra income.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because what happens when this settles down?
You end up with a granny flat out the back.
Absolutely empty. And what did we have a few years ago? Like back in, say, in the 1900s, where everybody was putting a swimming pool in the backyard.
1900s. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Oh, you are right. Geez, I'm going to really test my age. So when I grew up, I actually remember that some of my neighbours had tennis courts, right? Because land was plentiful and it was cheap, relatively speaking, okay? And the blocks are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And you're right. I noticed in my own world that the tennis courts became swimming pools. Yeah. And now we're getting to the point where it's a koi pond. If you're lucky, it's getting smaller and smaller. There's no
My parents had a koi pond. I've just cleaned it out. I'm actually turning the koi pond into a sewage tank.
As you do.
Lining. I put in the sewage tanks in the hole.
Sure.
Because I don't have to dig the hole. I just got to cut the pool away.
Well, I hate digging a hole, mate.
Absolutely. It's a massive big hole.
Yeah. But my point was about the land getting smaller and smaller, okay? And we've done that over generations. I mean, it sounds like I say that now and I think, a tennis court in your house, how opulent.
Post-war.
All of those years ago, post-war, that wasn't opulent.
Post-war, they had bungalows, which was a bedroom. That's it. No toilet, nothing else.
Right.
You couldn't live in them. Victoria was covered in them. Really? All of Footscray and Seddon, Yarraville, all those areas.
Yep.
In the backyard, they had bungalows.
Wow.
And they've all taken them all out. Yep. And I bet you they're all putting back in there.
Oh, yeah,
because we would never have thought about putting a toilet there. Remember, it was out in the back shed anyway. So, and a bathroom for them, making it separate. But I see the day where we're going to get to a point where people are going to go, I really love this house. Well, I don't want somebody living in my backyard.
I can understand that too.
And that's where I'm telling everybody now. I'm designing a business that will actually take them out.
Okay.
Because that's what's going to happen in 15 years' time. Because as we become settled, this thing settles down. We're going to go through a dip again in the marketplace.
Oh, of course, that's how the world works.
The pendulum swings that way. I see the day that that's going to happen. And I understand that maybe one day. But is it a good thing today? Absolutely. Right? Yeah. It's a good.
And you've got to live for today. Look at the future, obviously. I mean, that's important as well. But look, at the moment, this is going to solve a lot of crises, okay? And it's a passive income for people. And you're also building up the value of your property. And there's a lot of positives.
Oh, yes. And I was laughing. I was helping a guy put a granny flat into his backyard, and he said to me, I'm looking forward to getting $350 a week rent. He's now looking down the barrel of $600. And what we've done is spend a bit extra money. We've fenced it all off inside the property,
right,
so that you can park the car at the front, walk all the way through, and it keeps their privacy.
Love it. Okay. There are ways to create the privacy,
and that's it. And the client was going up. The tenant that was living in the house was getting upset because the front lawn got destroyed because of the steel being left on there. And I said, "Don't worry, we're going to put a brick wall in there and make a private front yard for you."
Oh, okay.
And so that's really that's the next stage. It's the
next step. Yeah. Okay.
Just to making that finishing off, make it look really, really nice and still keeping the value of the property. And at the same time, the value of the property went up. I mean, that same client bought a property for $750,000 off the plan in Melbourne, of all places. The valuation just came in at 1.4 million, yet Melbourne's going backwards. Yeah, so it was a good location. And I told him it was a good deal. I said, stick with the deal. He said, everybody's saying get out of the deal. And I'm saying, don't get out of the deal, stick with it, because that's where. And this is the advantage of having that like-minded, centered-faced, if you like, team. Okay. So once again, if you come to me with a property and you say, I want to build a granny flat on it, how do I get the best of it? I can show you better ways to building a granny flat, by the way, to make more money out of your backyard, especially with some of these bigger backyards. But and you get a restriction of only 80 square metres, and to build a granny flat. I'm building a granny flat now. It's 210 square metres.
That's a house, mate, not a granny flat.
Granny flat.
Jeez.
What we did is we built the whole thing on, middle of the building is 80 square metres.
Yep.
It's got 3.6 metres wide verandas all the way around.
Oh, okay.
And they're made on a steel platform, the same as the main house.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit lower. The reason for that, if you take off the timbers and put in the 35 mil concrete boards later, you got level.
Yeah, I saw that coming. Absolutely. Well, like I think that people used to do back in the day, where they'd close the back room later on and lots of things. We've seen so much of that through the years.
And
versatility.
It's just changing the names of things and making them exactly what they want for today, but giving you the opportunity to look at something in the future, in that space. But that was an interesting one, because that house, a granny flat is predominantly supposed to be behind the house. This one was actually on the side of the house.
Oh, okay.
So the shires like to have them hidden in the backyard so you can't see them, because ultimately they see the problem coming in the future where they're going to be wanting to get them out of the backyard. They don't want the eyesore at the front of the house; they want it at the back.
Is that the theory? Is it?
I believe so. Okay. That's what I reckon. Because I see the day where we're not going to need them. I don't see it very quickly.
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at them at a completely different point. Really, I look. You know what? I'm a single guy who basically works, goes home, goes to sleep. Yeah. Right. Boom. Rinse and repeat. Okay. So I basically wear the road out between home and here.
Yeah.
I don't want anything big anymore. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
I don't want to clean. I don't want the hassle.
Yeah.
To me, like a granny flat's actually, if I could get one around
fact,
here, I'd be
granny
wrapped.
flat is a granny flat concept is actually affordable home. All right. You could probably buy one, put it into someone's backyard and lease that piece of land off of them.
It's not a bad idea, is it?
That's something different, just another way to look at it.
Yeah.
What was it? Wayne Dwyer. Wayne Dwyer says, if you look at things differently, you get a different outlook, or you get a different perspective.
Sure.
So if you look at a tree, most people look at a tree and they'll go, it's got leaves and barks and wood and it produces wood and all this sort of stuff. I don't. I look at a tree and go, that's just breath. Because it takes my breath and it puts it back into it. And as a byproduct, we get oxygen, we get all the other things.
See, I thought, mate, you're being a builder, you'd go, that's a nice bit of 2x4.
Yeah, man. I like steel.
Yeah, you like to build in steel?
Yeah.
Hey, mate, if people want to get hold of you and talk about this further, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, best way is to contact Edge Radio.
Yep.
And they'll get you and send an email to Edge Radio, and then eventually, like very soon, hopefully tomorrow, one day, and tomorrow is tomorrow. Like it is. We'll be able to have our own webpage, and we're going to hook it all up to Edge Radio, and we're going to become a part more of a, get more and more people interested.
Absolutely awesome.
Anywhere in the country, by the way. I'm not talking just anywhere. Even if you've got friends in New Zealand, we've got guys in New Zealand.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
In fact, a couple of my best workers now gone back home to New Zealand, and they're looking to do contracts. So, and all we do is we facilitate. We put the teams together. And we find the like-minded people. If you're not in that space, and you want to be in that space, and you want to get into the industry, and you want to, how do I get into building? I take young people, take older people, anybody, as long as you're in that right mindset and you're prepared to do the work.
Yeah. Okay.
And most importantly, if you don't know where you're going, you just won't know when you get there. So it's having a plan to actually get to that point.
I just like the fact that you're putting together a community here. You really are. You're bringing people together who have got a vested interest. So when you've got a vested interest, you do a better job. Okay, and I think it's a great thing. Get it a little bit more small, a little bit more nuclear, and away you go.
Like I say, I've got guys that are young and they have no idea of the building industry at all.
Yep.
I says, do you reckon you can unpot a pot out of a pot plant and put the plant in the ground. Oh, I can do that. Then we've got a job because you're going to make the gardens look really nice.
Okay.
You know, and then I'm going to teach you how to do a bit of retriculation at the end.
Yep.
It's about the finish, you know. Oh, well, I'm pretty good with the paintbrush. Okay. Have you ever painted professionally? No. Cool. We've got guys in our team that will teach you to paint professionally. Even yesterday, there was 3 jobs for painter hands. In other words, no skills, just be able to flick the brush up and down properly.
I needed one. Trust me, it is a nightmare to get one. Thanks for being part of the show. We are out of here. If you've got any inquiries at all, send them through edgeradioaustralia.com. We have a contact page there. Click and, send a message through for Brendan. That would be fantastic. Otherwise, fantastic, and we shall see you next week.
Thank you for having me and loving you guys out there, and love your questions and what you're saying.
Great. Thanks for being part of The Ordinary Guy here on Edge Radio Australia.